This week in Jamaica Now, the government steps up support for Cooper's Pen families after demolition. Businessman charged as police probe Zimi Seh Beach brawl. Met Service monitors 2 tropical waves, rainfall expected by Monday. And Jamaica signs agreement to co-host 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup. I'm Neville Graham, and this is Jamaica Now. The government has stepped up its response to about 40 families displaced by Tuesday's pre-dawn demolition of homes in Cooper's Pen, Trelawney. About 20 predominantly concrete houses were destroyed by bulldozers, tractors, and sledgehammers in an operation overseen by a bailiff and a strong police presence. The families affected include households with children, senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and other vulnerable people. The informal settlers said they received little or no warning and had little opportunity to retrieve their belongings, with furniture, appliances, clothing, tools, and business equipment reportedly destroyed. Some residents said they had lived on the property for more than 30 years, although they acknowledged that they did not have legal title to the land. Residents also alleged that more than 20 men were detained by the police at around 3 a.m. shortly before the demolition began. The men said they were taken to the Falmouth police station and later released without being charged after being told police were searching for guns. Opposition spokesman on human rights Isaac Buchanan said the men were allegedly detained for about 13 hours, raising questions about due process, wrongful detention, and false imprisonment.
Notwithstanding that there is private property rights, there is process and procedure.
Exactly.
So the government has a duty to maintain human dignity and deal with the processes, even as simple as the notice period.
Exactly.
Right? The particular issue that certainly needs to be addressed is the fact that there were at least 19 to 30 men who would have been detained at 3 a.m. for 13 hours. Fingerprints taken, photos taken, phones, right to privacy issues, breaches of the right to privacy, and just false imprisonment and wrongful detention. These are issues that touch on concern the government's responsibility.
The police have not commented on the allegations. The government says the demolition arose from a long-standing private matter and that it was not a party to the underlying land dispute. However, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, the Poor Relief Department, and the Social Development Commission have been providing emergency assistance and assessing the affected families. ODPEM has distributed 40 family-sized tents, cots, foam pads, solar lights, care packages, bottled water, and sanitary products, along with food and other supplies. Drop-in shelters are also to be made available while long-term arrangements are considered. Opposition leader Mark Golding, who visited the community on Thursday, described the situation as a humanitarian calamity and called for a national inquiry into how land rights are enforced against vulnerable Jamaicans.
What has happened here is a calamity, a humanitarian calamity. And the first priority must be to restore the lives of the households who have had their homes destroyed yesterday. The government has brought some tents and provided other very interim forms of assistance, and it's a start. But the permanent relocation of those who have been displaced, in consultation with them on lands where they can be permanently settled in a decent living condition, is critical at this time. and the government must proceed.
He has also called for permanent relocation of the displaced families and urgent protection for about 40 households whose homes remain standing but who fear the demolition could resume. Longtime resident Nadisha Jones, who said she has lived in Cooper's Pen for about 30 years, said she received no warning that her home would be demolished.
We want to know where we go from here. Because my kids, if here, them know as home. Right? I have to them ball. Me a ball. Me a ball for all the baby mother them around here. You have some baby mother, 3-day-old, 5-day-old baby mother. You want to know what go on for them. Them broke down all the toilet, them and see how the people them are going to survive. Them bring in CDA, me see come in yesterday. Because take up the people them picnic. So at that them bring, no one know if I that them bring.
The government says it will continue to assess the needs of the affected families and coordinate longer-term assistance. A New York-based businessman arrested at Sangster International Airport in connection with the Zimi Seh Beach party brawl at Puerto Rico Beach in Discovery Bay, St. Anne on Sunday has been charged with inflicting grievous bodily harm with intent and unlawful wounding. 43-year-old Dave Taylor was arrested while waiting with his wife to board a flight to the United States. His attorney, Donovan Collins, says Taylor denies involvement and was not among the men seen in videos of the August 9 incident circulating on social media. Meanwhile, a second man linked to the incident turned himself in at the Runaway Bay police station and is to face an identification parade. The brawl reportedly started following a splashing incident and quickly escalated into violence. Two brothers aged 15 and 17, and both from Kingston, were injured but are recovering and did not suffer life-threatening injuries. One reportedly sustained a head injury after being struck with a bottle. The organizers' Destination Event series have condemned the violence. They said they contacted the boys' family and maintained that those involved have been identified. They also rejected claims that the incident was ignored, saying the MC alerted patrons to the disturbance to allow for intervention. The police are appealing to witnesses and anyone with videos, photographs, or other information to contact the St. Anne Criminal Investigation Branch at 876-972-2209 or Crime Stop at 311. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica is monitoring two tropical waves approaching the Caribbean. Principal Director Evan Thompson says one system has some potential to briefly develop into a tropical depression over the weekend, but it is expected to weaken as it enters the Caribbean.
What is expected is that it will continue to strengthen for a short period, but as it enters the Caribbean region on the weekend, we are expecting that some weakening will take place. It is likely that the system will pass by Jamaica by Monday of next week, and that it will produce some rainfall, some well-needed rainfall over sections of the country, but we are not expecting that it will be a tropical depression, tropical storm, or hurricane at that time. We're just likely to experience a tropical wave, a strong tropical wave probably, moving across our region and bringing some well-required rainfall. Please continue to monitor the situation along with us.
Calls are growing for urgent answers over allegations surrounding the operations of the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ. The allegations stem from emails published by Trinidad and Tobago's Sunday Express, which said it obtained the correspondence. The Gleaner has not seen the alleged emails. The reports raise concerns about tensions among judges and an allegation that judicial panels may have been manipulated to influence the outcome of cases. Former CARICOM Assistant Secretary General Ambassador Byron Blake says the allegations are not proven facts but should be treated seriously and addressed before the situation escalates. The CCJ, meanwhile, has reaffirmed its independence, impartiality, and integrity, saying allegations presented without the context of judicial deliberations and institutional governance could be misunderstood or mischaracterized. The court did not directly answer 15 questions from the Sunday Express, according to the newspaper, and the Gleaner has sought a response from CCJ President Justice Winston Anderson. Senate President Tom Tavares Finson says the allegation about panel manipulation, if true, would be extremely dangerous and has called for public inquiry.
The issue concerns an allegation that panels have been struck with a view to determining the output of cases. And that to me is a very dangerous development if it is true. One of the judges indicated that he was to sit on a particular panel, a case of particular note and relevance to Jamaica, and he was removed from that panel. His allegation is that he was removed because the president was aware of his particular legal opinion concerning the matter. He was removed under the guise that he was wearing national dress because he's a Nigerian. And he was replaced on that panel with no less a person than the president of the court himself. Now, that is an extremely worrying issue. That is an issue that has to be dealt with publicly and in such a manner that the confidence of the people of the court can be restored. And let me explain what that is when you're talking about a panel. A panel of several judges, be it 3 or 5, is struck to hear a particular matter. And what this judge is saying is that that panel is being manipulated in order to arrive at a particular decision. And that is a very dangerous thing. And that is exactly what people in the Caribbean have been saying when they voice skepticism about the Caribbean Court of Justice. Now, I do not see how this matter can be resolved without a public hearing, or indeed whether it can be resolved, because the judge has made a claim against the president, and it has very serious repercussions for the continued existence of that court. What is clear in my mind is that it would be extremely reckless for Jamaica to decide to join a court in which these interpersonal conflicts are raging and in which there is an allegation that panels are being struck to determine the outcome of cases.
However, Opposition People's National Party President Mark Golding says the leaked emails have not changed his party's support for Jamaica adopting the CCJ as its final court of appeal. Veteran attorney Bert Samuels and constitutional expert Dr. Lloyd Barnett have also urged caution, saying disagreements among judges are normal and do not by themselves undermine the court's integrity. Former Constitutional Reform Committee co-chair Marlene Malahoo Ford, meanwhile, says the leak has damaged public confidence. The controversy comes as Jamaica continues its debate over constitutional reform and whether the CCJ should replace the United Kingdom-based Privy Council as the country's final appellate court. The Jamaica Customs Agency says more than 2 tons of cocaine have been seized in its largest drug interception since the start of 2026. The operation, conducted between August 5 and 7, involved Customs, the police's Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division, and Specialized Operations Branch. About 1,813 parcels weighing more than 2,000 kilograms of cocaine were seized from containers destined for Spain and Florida, along with 256 pounds of ganja bound for Florida. The cocaine has an estimated local street value of Jamaican $1.2 billion, while its international value was estimated at up to Jamaican $21 billion, depending on the destination market. The seizure has triggered a major investigation at Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, where more than 100 police personnel were deployed. 8 people, some reportedly Kingston Freeport employees, were arrested as investigators probe an alleged drug smuggling syndicate. A separate container, reportedly labeled as carrying jerk seasoning, was also seized, while premises in St. Thomas and other parishes were searched. Authorities have not identified those arrested or disclosed their alleged roles. The latest operation comes amid record cocaine seizures this year. The JCF reported in June that more than 5,100 kilograms of cocaine, valued at about 3 billion Jamaican dollars, had been seized during the first 6 months of 2026. That had already surpassed the previous annual record of 2,508 kilograms set in 2024. The Kingston Port investigation remains active, with further developments and possible arrests expected. The Jamaican government has signed a 7-point agreement with the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF, clearing the way for Jamaica to co-host the 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup with the United States, Mexico, and Costa Rica. JFF President Michael Ricketts says the agreement was under review for several months while Cabinet vetted the requirements. The document covers visas and work permits, immigration and labor laws, tax exemptions and foreign exchange, safety and security, competition rights, waiver and indemnification provisions, and other legal matters. Ricketts says the signed document is now being prepared for submission to FIFA. Cabinet is expected to establish an organizing committee involving government ministries and agencies and the JFF to oversee preparations. Jamaica is expected to host between 3 and 5 matches, depending on the final schedule. Ricketts describes the tournament as potentially the biggest sporting event ever staged in Jamaica and a major marketing and economic opportunity. FIFA is expected to formally announce the 2031 hosts at an extraordinary Congress in November. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notifications, and subscribe today. I'm Neville Graham.